Coming up on today's show, we're going to react to the article that ESPN just put out where they ranked the New York Giants roster amongst all NFL teams, and they issued what they believe is going to be the starting lineup for Week 1. Also in that article, they listed the Giants' biggest strength and weaknesses on this team, the X factor on this roster, and the non-starter that every single person should know. If you want us to do this video later today, hit that thumbs up icon. And I'll do this. If we can break our record of 2,416 likes on a video in this month and get to 2,500 likes, we will do that video before I leave the office today. So if that's what you want, hit that thumbs up icon right now. Yo, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. It's good to see everybody back in the studio, back from vacation, ready for training camp to get underway coming up in a couple of days. But I wanted to talk about this article where ESPN, had the New York Giants ranked as the 27th best roster in the NFL. And look, I get it. You won 3 games last year. You picked 3rd overall in the NFL draft. Some people believe you didn't make the biggest moves in the offseason, so I understand why any person would say that. But I'm going to disagree every single time. Here were the full rankings of rosters. They had the Baltimore Ravens at 1, the Philadelphia Eagles at number 2, Lions, Bills, Chiefs, Broncos at 6 was a little bit of a shocker for me. Not to say they don't have a great roster. I just think that may be a little bit high for them. But you see 2 teams inside the top 8 from the NFC East. Then you have teams like the Cincinnati Bengals at number 9, the San Francisco 49ers at number 10. Then you see a team like the Chicago Bears at number 15, a team like the Chargers at number 16. So those are the top half teams in the NFL. And then this is where I honestly think the New York Giants could have been. Anywhere from 17 to 24. Do I think the Giants have a better roster than the Cardinals? I think you could make that argument. The Cowboys maybe have more star power at the top of the roster, but I don't think that they're any special team out there. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I think the Giants are just as good as them, as I do with the Seahawks, the Patriots, the Jags, the Raiders, and the Dolphins. And then you get to the final 8 teams, and you see the Giants at number 27, sandwiched by the Falcons and the Titans, the Jets at 29, Panthers at 30, and the Browns and Saints, the final 2 teams listed. And look, as bad as I want to rip ESPN for this article, I sat here, right here, and did this video last year where I ripped them because they named the New York Giants the worst roster in 2024. And while I disagreed, they, I guess, ultimately ended up to be more right than I was because the New York Giants ended up winning 3 games and picked inside the top 3 of the NFL draft. Look, I get it. I'm biased. I know it. 27 just feels a little bit too low, in my opinion. I think you could have gone anywhere from 16 to 24. 27, I get it, though. You want to roll with that? That's fine with me. ESPN's not the only outlet, media coverage site, or anybody that thinks the Giants are going to be bad, though. When you look at the win totals projected by Las Vegas, the New York Giants are near the bottom. The worst in the NFL, the lowest in the NFL is the Cleveland Browns at 4.5 wins. And then you have the New York Giants tied with the Saints, Jets, and Titans at 5.5. So they have the Giants as arguably the second lowest win total of all of them. So everyone still thinks the Giants suck. Here we are, a couple weeks away from season starting, preseason right around the corner, and training camp a couple of days away. And everybody still thinks this team sucks. And I get it. Like, Giants have been a bad team for a while. But I just don't understand how people still think the Giants could be the worst team in the NFL. Because if you say they have a bottom 5 roster, an injury here, an injury there, you're the worst team in the NFL. And this is a team that I thought got way better in the offseason. They didn't really lose anybody. Azeez Ojulari went to the Philadelphia Eagles on essentially a veteran minimum contract. Good player, couldn't stay healthy, didn't really affect the win total for the Giants last year. Neither did Drew Lock except for 1 game against the Colts. Adoree Jackson was a nothing burger last year. And Jason Pinnock, a player I like and a starter last year, and technically the only starter you lost, unless you want to count the quarterbacks, he left for a veteran minimum contract. And you went out and you signed Paulson Adebo, arguably the best corner in free agency. You went out and added Jevon Holland, arguably the best safety in all of free agency. Chauncey Golston, when you signed him, looked like he could have been a starter, but now he is a great depth piece. And you turned the worst quarterback room in the NFL, Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, Tim Boyle, who the hell is Tim Boyle, and Drew Lock into Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Jaxson Dart. And this doesn't even feature a guy like Abdul Carter or Cam Skattebo or Darius Alexander or all of the rookies that we think could make an impact this year. Where do you rank the Giants roster? ESPN has them at 27. I think that's a little bit low, but I want to hear from all the real ones in the comment section. 1 to 32, where do the Giants stack up across the NFL? I think top 20 is where it is. Maybe it is 20. Maybe it's 21. Maybe it's 18. Maybe it's 16. I'd have to do a deep dive on that, but I truly believe that the Giants are a top 20 roster in this league, and a couple things break and shake their way this season. I think that they could be a team that's pushing for a wild card spot. Coming up next, I want to react to the starting lineups that ESPN listed for Big Blue in that article. Before we do, though, I got to give a major shout out to our proud sponsor of today's show, and that is Ridge. If you're looking to get a wallet, a brand new wallet to replace your old crusty wallet, go to ridge.com/chat or ridge.com and use that promo code chat, and you're going to get 10% off your order today. I used to have a wallet that was pretty embarrassing, that I would pull out at a bar or a restaurant, out on a date, and I would get a little bit of a side eye. Doesn't happen anymore, though, because I got the best wallet in the game with Ridge. I feel good about it, and so do others, as there has been over 100,000 five-star reviews. Also, plenty of styles and colorways to choose from. They have New York Giants-themed wallets you can get, and 50-plus color options and styles you can select from. I also love the fact that it's really, you can't lose it because there's a spot on the wallet for an AirTag attachment. So if you're like me and you're losing your wallet all the time and you're spending an unnecessary amount of time trying to find your wallet, get yourself a Ridge wallet. It's awesome. It'll keep you more organized. It's stylish. It's made of awesome materials, and you can't lose it. I love it. A lot of other people do as well, and you can get yours today. Go to ridge.com/chat or ridge.com and use that promo code chat to get 10% off today. I'll make sure that link is clickable down in the comments and description. After you make your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them from. Please support our show and tell them Giants Now by Chat Sports, they sent you. Shout out to Ridge. We appreciate you. I'll make sure all that information is clickable in the comments and description. Alrighty, let's roll to the starting lineups that ESPN thinks are going to go down for the Giants. QB1, Russell Wilson. No shocker there. He's going to be the starter until he no longer has earned that job. Hopefully, he plays the entire year. He's going to win a lot of football games. If he doesn't, Jaxson Dart will be in there sooner rather than later. At the running back spot, I was a little bit, maybe you could say, caught off guard by this. Not because Tyrone Tracy Jr. was the starting running back listed, but they had two starting running backs, and it was Cam Skattebo over a guy like Motor Singletary. And look, I do think when we wrap up Week 18 and we take a look back at the season, Skattebo is going to have more carries than a guy like Motor Singletary, but I don't want people to just forget about him. Dable likes him. Shane likes him. He knows the offense. He's a veteran. He's a pro. He can be counted on and trusted. I expect in the early part of the season for him to be a part of this offense. And then as we progress throughout the year, Skattebo takes kind of the lead from him. And then Tyrone Tracy and Skattebo hopefully are a 1A, 1B type of backfield when the season closes. At wide receiver and tight end, no real shocker here. Malik Nabers, wide receiver 1. He was voted on by NFL coaches, personnel, and ESPN reporters as the 7th best receiver already in the National Football League. You got Wan'Dale Robinson holding it down in the slot, Darius Slayton on the outside, and second-year tight end Theo Johnson. Expecting a lot of big things from him. Needs to create some chunk plays up the seam, be a big target for Russell Wilson to lean on, and use that athleticism that got you picked in round 4 to make a difference on Sundays. The offensive line, same as it was last year. Hopefully a lot more healthy, though. Andrew Thomas, Jon Runyan, John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten, and Jermain Eluemunor. If JMS can take a step heading into year 3 and be closer to the player that we all thought he was going to be coming out of the draft, being selected in round 2, that could take this offensive line to new heights. But at the end of the day, nothing matters unless 78 is healthy. So please, Andrew, take care of yourself. We need you out there. The defensive tackle spot, a little bit interesting in my opinion. No shock, Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dexy, the best in the business. We already know that. But Chauncey Golston being listed as the starting defensive tackle is not what I expect to happen in week 1. And to be honest with you, it is not going to happen. He's more of an outside edge rusher. He can slide into the defensive tackle spot and be there on passing downs. But if you come out on 1st and 10 and your two interior defensive linemen are Dexter Lawrence and Chauncey Golston, people are going to try to run the ball on you. And probably will have some success. That's why the Giants went out and got a guy like Roy Robertson Harris. They brought back Raheem Nunez-Roches again. They went out and they signed Jeremiah Ledbetter from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I expect to see Roy Robertson Harris, Jeremiah Ledbetter, and then eventually Darius Alexander being that starting defensive tackle. I don't necessarily think Chauncey Golston is going to be that guy. He's going to play, and he's going to play a lot. He's going to make a lot of plays. He's going to be a player that I think fans are going to fall in love with because they don't really understand who he is and what he brings to the table. But where he's going to get his snaps is behind the edge group, which might be the best in football, with Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Abdul Carter. ESPN having all three named as starters for this team. They only really start 2 edge guys. Abdul Carter, you could essentially just use him at the joker position. He's going to line up in the A-gap. He's going to line up outside the tackle. He's going to line up off the ball. He's going to be here. He's going to be there. He's going to be everywhere. He's going to be making a lot of plays for this team. Cannot wait to see 51 wearing blue on Sundays this year. But of these 3 guys, my question to you is this. Who ends the season with the most sacks? Is it Burns? Is it Thibodeau? Is it Carter? Type the jersey number of the pass rusher you think leads this team or this group in sacks. Inside linebacker, same old, same old. Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden. We've talked a little bit about Okereke. Seems to be, I don't know if they're just taking it easy with him or what's going on, but they haven't really been using him all that much this offseason. Throughout the practices in the spring, training camp, I expect for the training wheels to be taken off. But if he can get back to that 2023 version of himself, that's going to help this defense be who they are supposed to be. A new look secondary for this team. Paulson Adebo, you went out and paid him a lot of money in free agency to leave New Orleans to come to the Giants. Deonte Banks moving from CB1 to CB2. Does less of a workload result in more of a productive output for the third-year corner? Drew Phillips, second-year corner, going to be holding it down in the slot. Expecting him to take another step after already setting a really solid baseline in his rookie year. Jevon Holland comes over, new and improved safety group. And Tyler Nubin, second year, second-round safety, need him to take a step and be a leader for this defense. I just go through this starting lineup, and I just talk about some of the names, and 27 just feels a little bit too low, in my opinion. I think about it like this. Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas, Brian Burns, Malik Nabers. If you asked every single team to give you your top 4 players for a team, how many teams have a better top 4 than Dexter Lawrence, best player at his position? Andrew Thomas, a top 10 player at his position. Brian Burns can be the best defensive player on any snap of any game. And Malik Nabers, already voted a top 7 player. So ESPN thinks you have the best defensive tackle, a top 7 wide receiver, and Brian Burns was voted as an honorable mention pass rusher, as was Andrew Thomas. Top heavy, sure, maybe not the deepest team. 27 just feels a little bit low for me. The defense will have to carry. We've talked about that time and time again. If the Giants are going to do things that we hope they can do this year, you have to have the baddest defense in the NFL. At minimum, a top 10. You need Paulson Adebo to earn his money. You need Jevon Holland to get back to the player he was more so in 2023 than 2024. And you need number 97, number 5, number 0, number 51 to bring it home. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram @MarshallGreen_.